Welcome to the next part of this video. We're going to be answering this question, and what we're doing here is dividing a quantity in a ratio with 3 terms. So this is how this one is different. We have 3 terms as opposed to 2 terms. So it says divide $300 in a ratio of 2 to 1 to 3. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 terms there. So how am I going to do this? Well, let's use the unitary method, and what you're going to find here is that we follow exactly the same steps. The first thing that we do is find the total number of parts. Total parts. So remember, this is 2 parts to 1 part to 3 parts. So that means I'm going to get 2 plus 1 is 3. Then plus 3 is going to be 6. So that means I have a total of 6 parts. Then what I'm going to say is I know that 6 parts, my total, is going to be equal to the amount of money I have, the total, so $300. Now, the unitary method tells me that I now need to find what 1 part is going to be. To find what 1 part is going to be, I'm going to divide this side by 6, and that means I have to do the same to the other side. So I'm going to go, what is 300 divided by 6? And 300 divided by 6 is going to be 50. So this will be $50. Remember, if you're struggling with that operation, what I did is, how many times does 6 go into 30? That goes 5 times. And now I've just got an extra 0 there, so 50. Now, I want to find 2 parts, 1 part, and 3 parts. Now, you might find that you can do this a bit quicker than what I'm doing it, but I'm really trying to spell it out. So feel free, if you want to do this a bit quicker, to do it another way. I'm first going to deal with finding 2 parts. To find 2 parts, I go, now let me get my pen. I'm going to go, how do I go from 1 to 2? Oh, I'm timesing it by 2. And over here, I times by 2. What is 50 times 2? Well, it's going to be $100. And that's going to be one of my first answers. So the 2 parts will be $100. Next, I need to find what 1 part is going to be. Well, you know what? I already know what 1 part is going to be. 1 part, well, that's a horrible color, isn't it? It's a bit too dark. And 1 part is going to be $50. So I figured out what 1 is going to be already. There's nothing I have to do for this one. That's fantastic. And then finally, I have to figure out what 3 parts is going to be. So I'm going to remind myself that 1 part is equal to $50. And now I'm going to say, well, if I'm after 3 parts, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to times both sides by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 50 times 3 is 150. And that is the last thing I needed, 3 parts. So if we wanted to, we could color code this even more, just to make it even clearer of what we've done here. We have found that 2 parts is $100. We have found that 1 part is $50. And we have found that 3 parts is $150. So make sure that you write your final answer down. So what we have done is we have divided, so I might write this as a sentence, we have divided $300 in a ratio of 2 to 1 to 3, which is, now let's make sure we get this right, $50. Actually, I might write it down here, $50. Oops, sorry, $100. My 2 parts is $100. $100 for 2 parts, $50 for 1 part, and $150 for 3 parts. And that's my answer. If we wanted to check if we have done it correctly, in this case, I would just use my check where I add everything together. So if I go 100 plus 50 plus 150, well, 50 plus 150 is 200, 200 plus 100 is 300, and that's the amount I started with. So my check has worked. This is my correct answer. So this is my correct answer right here. Perfect. Hopefully you found that useful. Feel free, if you are going to be using the unitary method, feel free to click off this now. Otherwise, for the rest of this video, I'm just going to be talking about how to use the fractions method to do this. What we're going to be doing is something very similar. We know that the total amount of parts here, total parts, is, so let me do this, total parts is 2 plus 1 plus 3, which is 6. So that means I'm going to find 2/6 of 300. I then am going to find what 1/6 of 300 is, and then I'm going to find what 3/6 of 300 is. So that is what I'm going to do, and I know that I'm just applying multiplication here. Whoopsie daisy. So these are all just multiplications. So you might want to look back at the previous part when I went through how to do the timesing of fractions. For this one, I might just take us all of our misery here and just say we know that this is going to be 100, we know this one's going to be 50, and we know this one's going to be 150. And that's the answers that we found below. Yes. So that is if you choose to use this method right here. But remember, you can just use the unitary method. If you're going to use the fraction method, you just have to make sure that you're good at cancelling out fractions and the like. Hopefully you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.